Okay, bring it to us, brother. You can come close, because we ain't got no mic. Shalom. We're out here once again doing the work of Yahweh by Shem Yahweh Shai. This is GMS, Elders of GMS on location, and we're on location right across the street from the UN building, all right? And if you see here, the statement, they shall come close. They shall beat their swords into plowshares and their spears into pruning hooks. Nation shall not lift up sword against nation, neither shall they learn war anymore. Now that's a quote, and it tells you Isaiah. It doesn't mention Isaiah, but it's Isaiah, the 2nd chapter. And I believe it's also in, is it Micah or Malachi? Micah 4:1, right. Because at first I said Isaiah 4, I was thinking about Micah. But anyway, it says the same thing in Micah as it does in Isaiah. And they don't tell you what it means. That's the dream that all the nations have for this world.
Right.
All peace. Mm-hmm. That's why you have the one world building. The United Nations. Take a picture of that. Hand over to that. A monolith, right? Yep. One stone. Yeah, so he just panned over to the UN building. We also call it a monolith, which means one stone. And they featured that in the movie. What is that? 10,001 or 2001: A Space Odyssey.
Right.
And they mentioned in the movie this thing called a monolith up in the heavens, and it was in the same shape as the UN building. Okay. So there's a reason why they came together. These nations came together in New York, in Manhattan. There's a reason behind it. We've been there a couple of times. If you pan over, but you can't see it, there's a thing called a sphera con sphera, and it's a golden sphere with another sphere inside of it. All right, it's hard for me to say that. And if you look at it real closely, you can see that that sphere represents the world, the Earth, but it represents another Earth coming out of it, or pushing out of it, because you see the first Earth being broken up. Okay, so that's a symbolic. That's symbolic for a new world order. Okay, and here's a picture of it, and you'll see more pictures of it. And this is, I believe, this is the one in. I believe this is in Belfast, in Ireland. And there's one in the Vatican City, and then there's Belfast, Ireland, Vatican City, Berkeley in the west, on the west coast, and then you have this one in the UN, and I think there's a couple others. By the way, when the World Trade Center went down, or the two towers went down, they had a sphera con sphera right in front of the World Trade Center, and it got damaged, so they took it down. They propped it up down by Bowling Green in that area. Right. All right. Now I'm going to show you something that this is symbolic for a new world order. Where's that picture at? Okay, one of them, and I couldn't find out which one. That's a close-up on one of the spheres, and you see an actual pyramid busting out of the current sphere. All right?
Yeah, and that pyramid represents the New World Order.
And that pyramid represents the capstone of the Illuminati. All right? I want you to get this article out, and you can read that. I want to say something. Oh, this is another article, and it says Illuminati spheres. And we're not even going to get into that, but we're going to get into this one article.
This is.
Well, we can go back over here, so we don't get in the way. Make sure you're against the wind. Get on this side.
Okay. This is from Living Journey WordPress. It says.
Whatever the meat is at.
Okay.
You know,
Yeah, it says some of Pomodoros sfera con sfera, which is, like you said, sphere within a sphere, can be seen in the Vatican museums, Trinity College, Dublin, the United Nations headquarters in New York, the Hirshhorn Museum, and Sculpture Garden in Washington, D.C., Christian Theological Seminary in Indianapolis, the D. Young Museum in San Francisco, Tehran Museum of Contemporary Art.
See, I didn't know that.
Yep. And
it's in Tehran, Iran.
Yep.
Which I didn't know that.
And the last one they put is the University of California,
Berkeley. Yep.
He says.
And you mentioned there was one in Trinity College.
Yeah.
Yep. I didn't know that. So there's a good 7 of them around the world.
Yep. It says this guy says. Let me see. Okay, I'll read this part right here. He says, this is what the Minister of Foreign Affairs of Italy said about them. Lamberto Dini,
speak a little louder.
Minister of Foreign Affairs of Italy, quoted in a more scary and prophetic way, with a spear growing inside another spear, as if a world torn asunder by the horrors of war and suffering could still give birth to another world.
Right, and that other world is a new world order. Because when you go back to the history of the UN, which was established after World War II, after World War I, they tried to establish what was called a League of Nations, and the leaders of the around the world, they wasn't with it. So what do you do if the world doesn't, accept it? You repackage it, give it another name, and you set up another war. All right, and then you give it to them, and they'll accept it. So they took the League of Nations, that idea of the League of Nations, like I said, they repackaged it, and they brought it after World War II. They brought it back to you as the United Nations, which is the same damn thing. Literally.
Who was that? General Smedley Butler that said war is a racket?
Yeah, speak loud.
There was General Smedley Butler said war is a racket, to push their agenda. Once he realized what they were trying to get him to do, he was a high-ranking 4-star general, and he realized what they were trying to do.
I got a precept for you. This is the book of Psalms 2 and 2. Well, I'll start at 1. It says, "Why do the heathen rage and the people imagine a vain thing?"
Good scripture.
Second verse, it says, the kings of the earth set themselves, and the rulers take counsel together against the Lord and against his anointed, saying, let us break their bands asunder and cast away their cords from us. An example of them, the kings of the earth setting themselves together, is the so-called United Nations, which you see the word united. That's the nations coming together, really, the leaders of the nations coming together, really against the nation of Israel, which we are the Israelites. They're really coming against us. Because when you go in the book of Psalms, the 83rd chapter, it tells you how they're confederate against thee, meaning us, the Israelites. Then it names the nations for you. So that's what it's all about.
That's right.
I got a precept. This is the book of Second Maccabees. Matter of fact, Since you mentioned that, I'll just read Psalms 83.
But before you read that, let me just read one verse.